Have you ever been guilty of over-explaining? I know I have. And when we do it, it can really land on other people not in a positive way. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why we tend to over-explain, the situations where it's really common, how it can backfire, and how to stop doing it. The first situation when people commonly over-explain is when they are trying to justify why they did or said something. They feel like just offering up the reason by itself concisely is not enough, that they need to offer up some backup information so that the other person will better understand and better accept the reason why that they did or said something. A lot of times people who don't like to tell other people no or give somebody bad news will tend to over-explain rather than just say no, or rather than give the bad news. They tend to want to soften it up by offering up all of this background and reasoning behind it, which they're trying to do to be nice. But what can happen in this situation is the other person tends to just start to feel like that the person is coming up with all of this background info just as an excuse for the reason that they said or did what they said or did. And in the case of if you're telling someone no or you're giving someone some bad news and you tend to over-explain it, what you're really doing is you're camping out in the story longer than you need to. And so many times it makes the situation worse than it is if you had just said what you needed to say and then moved on. The second reason we tend to over-explain is when there is silence. Maybe we have said something and the other person is not responding. The other person is being quiet. And so this can really happen if you're, for instance, in a phone conversation and you can't see the other person's face. Or maybe even a text situation where you've said something and the other person's not responding. But sometimes people will do it even when they're talking to someone and the other person is just not responding. So you tend to want to explain it some more because the silence can feel awkward. And so you start explaining it again and explaining it in another way, when really maybe the other person is just trying to take in what you've said, or maybe the other person is an inward processor and they like to think to speak. So they're trying to think about what you've said before they audibly respond to you. So in this situation, say what you need to say and then be comfortable with the pause. Be comfortable and let the other person respond. Or if you sense there's some confusion there, then ask them, do you need me to give you more details or do you need me to explain it a little more before you get into automatically over-explaining it. And next, people commonly over-explain whenever they're seeking validation or they're seeking acceptance, for instance, with another person or with a group of people. And so they will tend to explain things a lot. Sometimes they will explain things to make themselves to seem to be better than they really are. They're explaining things more than they need to. And what happens in this situation is the other person then may feel like, why do you feel like you need this validation or acceptance, or are you feeling like you're trying to impress me? Sometimes when people receive that, then they start to question credibility. Why does this person feel the need to over-explain? Think about a job interview, and we've all been on both sides of a job interview. Sometimes when you're the applicant and the interviewer asks you a question and you answer the question, sometimes you feel like you want to really give all the background when really what you've said in the beginning is really enough. And when you keep on talking, it can make the interviewer feel like you're trying too hard to impress them. So say what you need to say it with confidence, and be concise. And next, some people are just really detail oriented. This is the one that I fall into the most. Because I'm really detail oriented, whenever I am explaining something, I get into all these details that really are not needed in the first place. I am guilty of this a lot. And one thing that I need to realize in this situation is when I do this, then other people can, number one, lose patience with me because I'm not getting to the point. And number two, sometimes they can get lost as far as what really is the point. So if you find yourself guilty of over-explaining in one or more of these situations, one of the best things that you can do is, if you know in advance what it is that you're going to tell someone, then actually record yourself. Record yourself saying it and then listen to, are you providing too many details? Are you giving too many reasons? Are you trying to justify it? Another thing that you can do is if you're leaving someone a voicemail, you can go back before you hit send and you can listen to your voicemail and critique yourself. Am I going on much too long in this voicemail? Am I giving too much information? I do this so often, and then I'll re-record my voicemail message, record it again, and every single time, the second time that I've recorded it, the second time seems much cleaner and it seems much more concise and confident. And then for those situations where you can't prepare in advance, but you're explaining something and you're wondering, am I just over-explaining? Ask somebody who you can trust, who's really close to you, to give you some feedback. Do you go into too much detail? Are you giving too much information? And have that person speak into you and give you some good, honest feedback. Now, do you know of someone who needs to see this video? If so, I hope you'll share it and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.